took it very seriously. And he did it right and did it seriously. And unfortunately, when that happens, there can be very tough consequences for everybody, to people who are willing to serve. We've been here before, and that will happen. I've already begun getting phone calls. The chief of Tacoma was here in person helping us out. What is happening when that happens is people pull together. But the problem is we see too much of that pulling together. I'm not criticizing that action. I'm criticizing the opportunity for it to happen. Again, last week, Douglas County, Colorado, 5 shot, 1 killed. There are too many attacks on law enforcement officers, too much disregard for the safety and the life of law enforcement officers. Unfortunately, we saw that here this evening.
You said you've been in law enforcement for decades, 20 years at your most recent stint here in Pierce County. Has this job become more dangerous?
I think it is a little more dangerous. As I said earlier, 2016 was a time when 2016 when murders went up, when line of duty deaths went up. 17 they went down slightly, but what has continued to go up is attacks on officers. We need not to tolerate that. That needs to be something that our whole community would say, time out, that's wrong, that's not what we do.
Your message to the community this morning, how can they help? How can they support the sheriff's office? Because you know you're going to have people showing up at your door.
And we appreciate that. We've got a big job to do in finding the second person involved here. We still have an investigation to conduct, which we will take very seriously. We will go about doing the rest of our jobs. There will be burglaries today and car thefts and assaults and rapes that we'll be investigating. So things don't stop behind something like this. I would invite good thoughts and prayers for family and for our agency. The other thing I would invite is when you see somebody with a badge on, remember what I said. They live an ethic of duty and obligation and sacrifice. They're out there for you in your place, in your stead, and they risk everything for that.
Pierce County Sheriff Paul Pastor, the deputy who was shot was wearing a vest, but the vest was of no use in this case because it was not hit there. Still no more on the nature of the burglary, by the way, or no good description of the suspect we're still looking for. It is 12 minutes past 8 o'clock. Looking at the weather, still some pockets of showers from about Everett north. We're going to see most of the showers in the north end this morning. So from Seattle south, mostly drier, but looking at the week, we're going to have on and off again rain. So picnic outdoors at your own risk. Some heavy showers off the coast right now, mostly at Forks, and currently at the Carter Subaru Studio, 42 degrees. At 12 minutes past 8, let's go to real-time traffic, brought to you by Budget Batteries. Here's Chris.
And we're still dealing with some leftover slowing on the I-90 westbound bridge. In fact, I would avoid I-90 westbound if you can for a little while. The stall that we had mid-span has cleared out of the way, but it's a 45-minute trip from Bellevue to Seattle on I-90 right now. That's 25 minutes slower than it should be. 520, even though you're paying the max toll, you might want to consider what your time is worth. It's more than half the time to take 520 between Bellevue and Seattle. Coming out of the south end, we're seeing pretty good conditions in Tacoma, and then an hour from Federal Way to Seattle, so we've loosened up there. We're loosening up still out of Snohomish County, a little over an hour from Everett to Seattle. From Everett to Bellevue, that's really not all that bad. Valley Freeway is looking pretty decent. Some spits and starts here and there, but overall about 50 minutes from Puyallup to Renton. Renton to Bellevue, still about 40 minutes, with those heaviest slowing there around the S-curves working your way up towards the landing. We're also seeing some slowing in the westbound direction of I-90 getting out of Issaquah. As for the state ferry system, I teased 10 minutes ago the Seattle-Bremerton run, the Chimacum still working at half power with some engine problems, so there are going to be delays there. And if you're heading up into the Bellingham area at this point, I-5 northbound is closed. Got a new accident that's blocking all of the lanes right near Iowa Street. If you're familiar with that area, that's as you're pulling up out of Mount Vernon before you kind of make the corner there. So be prepared. I-5 northbound remains closed for this accident up into the Bellingham area. This report brought to you by Budget Batteries, offering you the best service, lowest prices on batteries. Free battery testing by skilled techs, 11 Puget Sound locations, budgetbattery.com.
By the way, just in case you're curious, the on and off rain has not accumulated that much. We're talking about a third of an inch in Seattle over the past 24 hours. and closer to half to 3/4 out on the peninsula, except the rainforest, of course, where they've gotten over an inch. 8:14. Seattle's Morning News. Dave Ross with Colleen O'Brien. North Carolinians opened up their newspaper recently to see an op-ed piece which proclaimed that their state was no longer classified as a democracy.
Globes. The Democrats present populism to the left. She could just take on Bernie Sanders' platform. Just steal it from him.
Does
She's
she
more
believe
engaging
that?
than him. I don't know.
Just real quick, and then we'll take a break. So everyone yesterday during the Golden Globes was supposed to wear black
Yeah.
to support the actual cause of women equality in the industry. Not Blanca Blanco, who's an actress, who decided to, I think she was the only person there who was in a full-on red dress.
I saw reports that there was three women that
Who was
weren't.
the other one?
I can't remember the names.
I'm looking at, because I don't know who this woman is. She's not been in any big movies. And if she has, she's, oh, this is, here's, she plays Nurse Luna in an upcoming film called Hold On. Did you see Torch?
No.
Did you see Spreading Darkness?
These are all
She played Lupita in a movie called Fake News.
really?
For her. Good on you. Now I kind of want to watch
a movie called Fake News? I've
It
never
stars
heard of this.
Eric Roberts. Hello. Julia Roberts' brother.
Really?
Yeah. God. The Jason Reyes Show, time to get your work the right way with Right Way Traffic.
Westbound 90 heavy through Issaquah and again across Mercer Island. We found out that the Mercer Island westbound 90 slowdown was due to a stall that just got cleared, so that's going to get better quickly. Roads still closed in Pierce County around Frederickson for an earlier deputy killing, and they're still looking for that shooter. Now northbound 5 in Bellingham is closed from Lakeway Drive to Ohio Street with an accident. Travel times are dropping really well. An hour Everett to Seattle, an hour 3 Tacoma to Seattle, but Linwood to Bellevue holding steady at 51 minutes. Staples keeps your ink stocked and your business moving this year. Right now, buy one HP ink and get the second at 30% off. Ends 1/13. Restrictions may apply. See store or staples.com. That's AM 770 KTTH Traffic. I'm Tammy Bennett.
Upgrade to a new efficient Carrier heat pump for efficient whole house heating now and get cooling you'll need for the summer for free. Tell them Curly sent you and you'll save 10%. Turn to the experts, 855.
Because they win a Republican straw poll or the backing of the Republican leaders or Democratic leaders. And so you've got this polarized system that really has become detached from the voting, from the ballot box.
So North Carolina is essentially controlled by the Republicans now. At one point, as some of your critics of the study have pointed out, it was controlled by Democrats who did the same thing. But here's my question. I know that we cast Democrats and Republicans as essentially opposites, but they're not really. When it comes to the economy, if the economy is bad for Democrats, it's bad for Republicans too. So even if you have one party control, don't they have to adopt the kind of policies that would in fact help everybody, or else even their own party's going to vote them out?
Well, I mean, to some extent, there are similarities in the behavior of both parties in North Carolina, and that has provided some common ground on economic matters. North Carolina was a sort of dynamic economic powerhouse of the New South, and the development of the technology industry was supported both by Republicans and Democrats in North Carolina. But at the end of the day, we're seeing on social issues especially a divide that is much more counterproductive. And it's a sort of battle for the soul of the state about who counts and who doesn't. And frankly, it's a battle about the skin color, the ethnicity, the sexual orientation of a citizen of the state and whether they count or not. And some of those legislators are acting in ways that say people of color, LGBTQ people do not count in the same way. And they manifest that through suppression of voting access. They manifest that through specifically discriminatory laws in the LGBTQ community, and they sort of do everything they can to advantage the majority group of the state and diminish the minority groups of the state. And so I think on the social issues is where you get the big divisive battles for the heart of the state. The economy is trucking along. It was hit very badly by the boycotts over HB2, the bathroom bill. But at the end of the day, there is common ground amongst Republicans and Democrats over their broader economic principles. Both of them are sort of center-right, free market, capitalist parties, clearly. But over social issues, the division is so extreme right now that that's really brought the state to a standstill.
Yeah, so that's where the big divide comes, over the transgender bathroom bill and voter ID laws. If you go behind the figures, is there some overriding concern among North Carolina's residents that has fueled this polarization? In other words, one of the reasons that Trump was elected was this fear among his base of unstoppable cultural change. Is that what's going on here?
Well, I think that a lot of extreme politics is rooted in the community's fear of change. And the question is whether your leadership actually exploits that fear or whether it mitigates that fear. And we've seen throughout history bad leadership actually taking those fears of change and exploiting them and mobilizing people around fear of the other. And I think that that's what has happened in North Carolina. So the Republicans in North Carolina have seen the fear of people of color, of immigrants, of refugees, of different sexual orientations as a way of mobilizing their core vote, the way of getting a few more votes in their pocket, and actually giving a climate that encourages white supremacists, encourages the Klan, encourages people to be homophobic and transphobic. So I think that when you have a community that is fearful of change, perhaps its industry, its basic livelihoods are under threat, they are always going to be ripe to be exploited. And the trouble is that our leadership has not tried to mitigate their fears, has not tried to build a community that is based on the whole. It has tried to fragment, cut aside, and then mobilize their part to give them a few more votes on the basis of fear of the other. And I think that's a history that is age-old. It's something that's happened all the way through modern history politically, and it's brought out the worst in people, the worst in some people. But of course, at the same time, it's brought out the best in other people. I mean, we have millions of people in North Carolina who are incredibly charitable, incredibly reaching out to different people, learning different cultures, learning different ways of being, and building a North Carolina that is much more progressive. And North Carolina has always been on that fault line of progressive versus the old South. And I think we are again.
Professor Andrew Reynolds teaches at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. The headline of his article, if you want to Google it, is North Carolina No Longer a Democracy. Professor Reynolds, thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
822 real-time traffic brought to you by Emerald Queen Casino. Here's Chris Sullivan.
And nothing should surprise you at this point on the freeways around the Central Sound. I mean, we're looking at pretty usual commutes, maybe a little lighter than normal in some spots, a little heavier in others. By far, what will probably catch you off guard is the westbound direction of I-90. It's still pretty slow from Eastgate all the way across Mercer Island. We had a long-term stall at midspan there that has caused this, but the travel time has come back down 35 minutes. From Bellevue to Seattle on I-90 is only about a 12-minute delay. 520, though, is filling in as the word's getting out. It's going to take you 20 minutes to get across at that direction. Federal Way to Seattle has calmed down pretty significantly, back down to about 48 minutes, which is certainly positive. Renton Bellevue is still kind of stubborn, still working at 40 minutes on 405 northbound. Really slow all the way up through the Newcastle area, 44th there in Newcastle. Looking at the Everett to Seattle, Everett to Bellevue drives, no real surprises there. No real braking until you get down to Linwood, and then that's when it starts hitting you. About an hour and 5 minutes on either one of those drives. Valley Freeway, pretty decent. 50 minutes real time on that drive. Tacoma's not too bad. Now, if you're on the Washington State Ferry run, taking the Seattle-Bremerton route today, the Chimicum has got some engine trouble. It's been running at half power most of the morning. So we're going to see some long-term delays there. And for those of you heading up north into the Skagit County area, up into Bellingham, like my Cairo driver, Ron, who's texts me all the time when he's driving, or before he drives, I should say. He's a truck driver, one of our many truck drivers who listen to us. He's heading up to Bellingham. I-5 northbound is closed. All lanes are blocked at Iowa Street as you get into Bellingham because of a crash there, multi-vehicle crash. It happened about 25 minutes ago. We have no ETA on anything there, but if you get off at Samish Way, you will save yourself some time. That's about as far as the backup extends at this point. This report brought to you by the Emerald Queen Casino, welcoming Smokey Robinson for a special performance January 20th. Experience for yourself the King of Motown, only at the Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Rain has moved on for now, but if you missed it, don't worry. It'll be back tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday and maybe even a little bit on Friday. At the Carter Subaru studio right now, we are at 42 degrees, headed to 48. Coming up, the Pierce County Sheriff's Deputy is still looking for a suspect in that department is still looking for a suspect in the shooting of that deputy yesterday.
We have 800,000 people that live in Pierce County, so there are eyes and ears.
They advise you not to engage if you see anyone suspicious, but of course to give them a call. We're going to give you the latest on that story coming up on Cairo Radio.
The Ron and Don Show. Former Attorney General of Washington State, Rob McKenna, the Justice Department today, what specifically are they doing to crack down on legal marijuana?
They're revoking what are called the Cole memoranda, a couple of memos that under the Obama administration directed U.S. attorneys to move prosecution of marijuana offenses down the priority list. The Attorney General of the United States strongly dislikes marijuana, is not happy the states have legalized it.
Ron.
Remember, but apple juice is the best.
Apple juice is only good in shot form. What? Like, you can't drink a big old glass of apple juice. You can only have like a little bit of, like a coffee mug's worth.
I can
can't have a
so
big
much apple juice.
Yeah, well, there's something wrong with you. You're going to get diabetes, which is exactly the thing that Lorena Gonzalez, Seattle City Council member, wants to prevent.
7 years ago, I lost my father to diabetes, and I have a mother who has type 2 diabetes as well. This is an issue that impacts Latino communities in particular.
So she doesn't think Latinos are smart enough to not drink sugary beverages. So rather than educate the Latino community or the entire community as to why you should not be drinking sugar-filled Coke and Mountain Dew, she's deciding to go with this tax, which is weird because if she gets what she wants out of this tax, it means that people will stop buying soda. But the tax dollars, to Teresa Mosqueda's point, who's also a Seattle Council member, is going to some worthwhile programs.
We can now reinvest into programs like the Farm to Table program, which increases food stipends and nutritional education programs. The Fresh Bucks to Go program makes sure that kids have bags of food to go when they're not in school.
And so if this doesn't make sense. They both want something that's in polar opposition to each other as it relates to the context of the soda tax. None of this makes sense. If you stop drinking soda, it means you're not raising the tax dollars to go into those programs that Mosqueda really likes. And if Mosqueda is getting tax dollars into those programs she loves, it means more people are getting diabetes from drinking all of the sugary soda. None of this makes sense. Progressive politics for you. Want to join the conversation? Email me, ktth.com. You're listening to The Jason Rant Show.
Hi, Donald John Trump.
What's next from the Trump administration?
This is the kind of relief that Americans deserve.
The federal government doesn't make money, it takes money. And now the federal government's going to be taking a little bit less. That's a good thing. It's something worth celebrating.
Your tax rates are going down and your paychecks are going up. This is the kind of tax reform and tax cuts that get our economy growing to reach its potential.
Be a part of history with AM 770 KTTH, Conservative Talk Radio.
Did you know that nearly half the homes in Western Washington are not properly insulated or not insulated at all? That may be the reason why your home is way too hot in the summer and way too cold in the winter. It may also be the reason that your energy bills are sky high. Right now, Insulation Northwest is offering a free inspection of your home's insulation. This is a $199 value and it's absolutely free, no obligation. Just call today and Insulation Northwest will arrange a time that works with your schedule. We'll perform a thorough exam of your home's insulation and give you the advice you need to start saving thousands. Everyone who calls today will also receive a free infrared screening of your home using the latest technology. This will help reveal any hidden flaws in your home's protective energy blanket. What do you have to lose? It only takes about an hour and it's absolutely free. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company. InsulationNorthwest.com.
Before you can turn your retirement dreams into reality, just a few questions to think about. How do you plan to address longevity? We're all living a lot longer. That means your retirement savings have to stretch more than they did for your parents or grandparents. Does your plan account for that? And what about Social Security? When will you start receiving benefits? There are hundreds of ways to claim, so how do you choose what's right for you? And most importantly, do you have a plan to generate income in retirement? You may have a 401k, IRA, or other retirement savings, but how do you use those to meet your retirement income goals? Has your current advisor asked you these questions? If not, you owe it to yourself to tune in to Real Retirement Radio with Randy and Arwen Becker every Sunday at noon. The founders of...
Describe that difference.
They have so important to hire a real radio with Randy and Arwen Becker every Sunday at noon.
Hey Medheads, did you know Tub Cove has completed nearly 50,000 tub and shower area remodels in its 45-year history? Wow, this is Michael Medved recommending a local one-day bathroom makeover company and your complete source for beautiful bathroom and shower renovations. Don't just take my word for it. Check out Tub Cove reviews online and also at tubcove.com. Here is the Tub Cove promise. They will completely redo your bath or shower area just as they did for my son, and they'll do it for less than $6,000. That includes a new tub or shower, mixing valves, seamless wall surround, and glass doors. Of course, it's a lot less if you do some of the work yourself or you only need a partial makeover. So when their competitors give you a $10,000 to $15,000 quote, remember Tub Cove, because those competitors only make Tub Cove look good. Please call Tub Cove to save money with a free and firm quote at 206-522-1711. Call now, 206-522-1711, or research them at tubcove.com, and remember to check their customer testimonials at tubcove.com.
From the Online Trading Academy studio, this is AM 770 KTTH.
Welcome back to the Jason Rand Show. How are college Republicans, how are millennial Republicans dealing with the Trump administration? Is there some infighting? We're going to find that out in just 30 seconds, but first it's time to get your work the right way with Right Way Traffic.
Killing of a Pierce County deputy continues to be investigated with roads closed in the Frederickson area in Tacoma, but that's the only blocker in the metro areas. We do have one, however, in Bellingham that's closed northbound 5 between Lakeway Drive and Ohio Street. We have a few details on that. Our commute from Linwood down to Tequila is looking pretty typical in area that it's covering, but it's breaking up nicely. All of these backups are starting to thin out. Issaquah into Seattle through the S-curves both directions. Actually, both directions of I-90 across Mercer Island are tough. South 405 from the Swamp Creek interchange all the way down to 520, 520 westbound, 405 to I-5, and southbound 5 heavy through Linwood, but then breaking up just plain old busy from Edmonds down to about 520. This report brought to you by the T.J. Martell Foundation at tjmartell.org. AM 770 KTTH Traffic.
Welcome back to the Jason Rand Show on AM 770 KTTH and 94.5 FM, the Greater East Side. The future of Trumpism is on our college campuses. So says Elaine Godfrey. She's the politics writer and assistant editor over at The Atlantic. She argues in a new piece over at theatlantic.com that a lot of younger Republicans are trying to navigate everyone's feelings about the Trump administration, and obviously there are some conflicts. Elaine Godfrey joins me now. Good morning. Thank you so much for